Hey everybody, welcome to the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I'm your host Al Richards, and I am here with my good friend, and I'm just going to leave it at that. My brother, JD.
I like the lovely.
Do you know? Next week I'm going to bring him flowers. I'm really going to bring him flowers. What flowers do you like, JD? You like roses?
I do.
Do you? Okay, yeah. I'll bring you some roses. Pink. Black roses are okay?
whatever makes you happy, I'll accept any.
Oh, you'll accept any?
Yep.
Okay. I had a buddy that was supposed to call me the other day, and he didn't call me, so I texted him yesterday, and I said, "You don't bring me flowers anymore. My heart is broken." He's like, "Okay, I'll call you later." Hey, we have got an awesome show. A friend that I just met this year, Cinda, and oh my gosh, it's Wayment, right? Yeah, so we met through somebody else that we both know at Athena's Coffee House.
Right.
And it's kind of weird. We sat down and we started talking, and
we knew people.
Yeah. And it's almost kind of like we started connecting right off the bat. And I reached out to Cinda and I said, "Hey, would you be willing to come on the show and share your story?" And she didn't even hesitate. She goes, "Yeah, I think I would enjoy doing that." So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. And some of you may recognize this beautiful young lady sitting next to me right here. We got Janessa. Now, Janessa, she was on our show
a couple months ago.
At least a couple months ago, huh? I don't even remember what episode it was. 23 have already come out. I'm just like in awe. So,
I think it was back in May or something. I don't remember exactly what month, but
I think it was May.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Women have a better memory than us guys. Yeah. So yeah, you're probably right. It probably was in May. And thank you for driving all the way down here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you drove 45 minutes to an hour to be here with us today. So
I'm
thank you.
happy to. This is awesome.
Well, thank you. And we have Cinda's friend, Kathy, right?
Uh-huh.
Kathy, that's and my wife has actually joined us today, so we have an audience, which is really cool. So, all right. So a little bit about Cinda. I like the title. She says, "I am strong, I am brave, Cinda Wayment, barrel racing spotlight." And I love how she said, "I am strong and I am brave," because you guys have heard me say before, I am are two extremely powerful words. And Charity shared on a show just a couple of weeks ago that something I posted, and I completely forgot that she said the words that come after I am are the words that follow you. And I'm like, gosh, I don't even... Oh, yeah, I did put that on there. So anyway, okay. So Cinda, reminded by a bracelet on her arm, Cinda Wayment's positive affirmation of "I am strong, I am brave," keeps her on the right track, both in barrel racing and in life. Like all of us, Cinda has had her share of challenges and success. She shared that her popular phrase on another bracelet she wears, "Live, love, and laugh," are important aspects of her life, emphasizing on the laughter. Cinda grew up in Pleasant View, Utah, and now resides in Harrisville, Utah, after working for the Internal Revenue Service. Oh my gosh. No. Just kidding. For 30 years. You were there 30 years. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Wow, yeah.
Holy cow.
So Cinda is retired now. And as we talked and realized that Cinda, like so many horses, people have found enjoyment, therapy, healing, achievement, and love with having horses as an inaugural, did I say that right? Part of her life. So I'm going to stop reading.
I did not write that. I mean.
Oh no!
It was a story that was written for
Yeah.
And she did an awesome job. But yeah.
Well,
It was in a book. It was in a. I was going to bring the actual article, but I forgot.
Oh, that's all right.
But yeah.
That's all right. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll put this on, so when the show comes out, we'll add that link to it. So if anybody that wants to read about it, to make sure that it's there. So, again, Cinda, thank you so much for your time to be here and share your story. So, you've been into the barrel racing for quite a while, because I know we were trying to get you on the show earlier, You're like, no, I got competitions and I got things. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the barrel racing, I do 2 different associations, and they're usually Wednesday nights.
Okay.
But I'm just get busy doing. I'm in an adult riding association, so we do barrel racing and then a bunch of other stuff, and that starts from the riding starts about in May and September. We just had our state show, and you just have to do all the events and you qualify for each show. And then the barrel racing, I said, keeps me way busy. I run a couple of different horses here and there. So
now you got into barrel racing to kind of help you through some steps with some battles that you were going through, correct?
I've always had horses my entire life.
Okay.
And I've been in the riding association for about 30 years. So
is that part of the IRS?
No. It should be therapeutic.
All right.
No, the association is a Utah-based, riding club, and I started in that when I was younger, and just it kind of, you have like junior posse when you're young,
okay,
and then this one kind of goes on after junior posse when you're an adult, more or less. But so we call it an adult junior posse. But so I've been doing that for about 30 years, and always wanted to do barrel racing, but just never really did. I had the horses that probably could have done it growing up, but I just, being married, it wasn't something my husband would have supported as much. So I didn't do it. And then after my second husband, I've been married twice, when he passed away, I just got more into kind of doing what I wanted to do,
Yeah, finally starting to live your life a little bit.
And the barrel racing. Well, actually, my friend's daughter started barrel racing, and they just said, "Oh, come do it with me." So I just kind of went with her, and then she got married. Now she doesn't do it, but now I stayed with it.
Well, that's cool. So, growing up here in Utah, I mean, what kind of childhood did you have? I mean, because we have guests that come on our show that some basically, I mean, really had a great childhood, had great family, great support, but life kind of started taking them down a different road. And we've had other people that's come on and not realizing that there was a lot of trauma happening in their life and didn't realize it till they got older.
Right. My childhood was really pretty good. I had a good family. My parents divorced when I was young, when I was 10, but they remained friends. So I could never understand why parents didn't get along, because my parents always were there, but they weren't married. But my dad was always still there. He was a golf pro.
Wow.
At the White Barn, he designed golf courses, so we were out in the golf world a lot. I was always out on horses. I never took up golfing.
Well, that's a shame, because I was going to ask you for lessons.
Now, I have sisters that can golf, but I never really golfed. I'd rather have much been out on my horse.
Yeah.
So, but I grew up with a good family dynamics. I mean, they were really good. I'm the youngest of, I have 3 older sisters. So when people ask me my middle name, I tell them it's Rella. Now put the name together.
Cinda, Rella. That's how you. And that was very good, because with different names, I have a hard time remembering them. So that helped
and people
me.
remember that.
Yeah.
And so I have 3 older sisters. I always claim they're my evil sisters, but they're really not. They're really not evil. Our families really get along well. All our, my sisters, we all are very close and grew up very close. My parents passed away. They both passed away with cancer. It's probably been a little over 10 years ago, probably 12. And we caregave our parents, me and my sisters, with both parents. They were both at separate places, of course, but they stayed at home, but we didn't put them in. They were able to stay at home. and we were able to take care of them until they passed. So that was a
really
big part of
awesome.
that. And when I think that was a lot of it. I was on my second marriage. I was married to Chris then, and we lost my dad to cancer, and then within a year we lost his dad,
Wow.
and then we lost my mother and then his mother. So we lost our parents within like a 5-year span.
Wow.
So
Holy cow.
yeah, so
That was
it
so hard.
yeah, it was hard, and it was hard on him, and he was an alcoholic. My husband was an alcoholic.
And this was your second husband?
Yeah.
Was alcoholic?
Yeah, well, my first actually was kind of too, but we were young, when you're young and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we divorced. My first husband, we divorced. But with Chris, he was an alcoholic, and he'd been through rehab several times and tried to quit. So I've been on both sides also,
Yeah.
because I wasn't a big drinker when I was married to him. I was a social drinker, and I was a social drinker probably my entire life till the last, 4 years, and then just something hit. But and then when he passed, I think that's when, and he committed suicide.
Mm.
That's so sad.
So we were in an argument over his drinking, and it had been his second attempt, but that one he succeeded with.
Oh, wow.
I'm so sorry.
So he
Thank you.
he was drinking well, when that happened?
He after his first attempt, and his first attempt was probably maybe 2 years before he did kill himself. He made, and I don't even know if Kathy's heard this story, but we were actually at a horse show up in Logan, and he'd gotten drunk and got an argument, and we had a motor home, and when I went back to go to bed, because I just said I'm just going to bed, I heard a gun go off in the motor home,
Oh my gosh.
and I knew it was him, but he had missed. So I took the gun and went to a neighboring trailer, which was some friends, Marty and Holly, and they called the cops because we didn't know if he had another gun,
Yeah.
because he always had guns because he was a hunter. And that experience, we almost sit and laugh at it, because it was, we're in shorts and tank tops because it's like 11 o'clock at night, and when they called the cops, they surrounded us, all the trailers. There was like,
Were you at a fairground?
yes, the Logan Fairgrounds.
Okay.
Right along the Little River, and they surrounded the camp and hiding with their guns drawn, and called us out of the trailers, and we had to walk out of the trailers with our hands up and kneel and do the whole thing. And Marty and Chris were handcuffed. And Chris kept saying, "Oh, Marty has nothing to, he has nothing to do with it. It's just me."
Yeah.
And they finally uncuffed Marty, and then they actually did take Chris, and they arrested him for shooting a firearm in
A restricted
a
area.
restricted area, yeah, and confiscated the gun, and then arrested him, and I had to go bail him out the next day.
Wow.
And some people slept through the entire ordeal, and others were peeking out of their trailer windows, not daring to come out, because
Yeah.
all these cops are like all over,
Surrounding.
surrounding. It was kind of, you kind of laugh at it now, because it was, you look back and think, oh my God,
Yeah.
Can't believe that happened.
But yeah, we're, in bare feet on grass, and me and Holly have our hands up here, and we're just terrified. But
Oh, I can imagine.
but we didn't know if he had another gun. And I had dogs in my trailer, and I remember the cop, when they went to get Chris, I said, "Can I get my dogs?" Because then they went, "Oh yeah, you better take your dogs." So I had to hurry and get my dogs, and then put them over in my truck, because they were barking. Dogs were barking and everything. And he had actually shot, and he told Marty he missed, and he told the cops he was cleaning his gun. So I don't know. You know, whatever happened. But he shot the motorhome. The motorhome got shot. There was a hole in the. I think it bounced off the ceiling and hit the ground.
Oh my gosh.
But
Wow.
yeah.
And then you said 2 years after.
Yeah, and then
that,
he really
changed.
he really tried. He quit drinking. He got on because I said, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. And so he did quit drinking, and I wasn't drinking because I was supporting him. So, and I was never a big drinker anyway. I mean, I'd maybe get drunk once a year, if that, you know. But we were social drinkers with friends, and we went to Mexico all the time, where we would, of course, it was party, in Mexico. But he did try, and he went about a year without drinking, almost a full year. But then he got hooked on meds. Like he would take Xanax, some of
I know what that does.
Yeah. So then he'd get hooked. Then he got hooked on Xanax and Tylenol PM, of all things.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's a new one.
Yeah, he said the Tylenol PM took the edge off things. And so when we were in Mexico, we had to go find Tylenol PM at the stores.
The Tylenol PM's got coating of oxycodone on it, so if you suck off the outer siding.
It does?
No, see, I didn't even know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that either.
Yeah, it's got a coating in it. That's why
Interesting.
people will go after it. It's not a high milligram like doctors. If you're going towards a coating,
Holy
they will
cow.
send you to a Tylenol PM is what they try to do first before you obviously get into the heavy stuff, or they should at least. But yeah, that's why if that's because it's usually one they used to be able to just get it over the counter. Then they had to get it to where like now you have to get prescribed it.
Yeah.
And that's why the Mexico thing makes sense because you go down there and get it just like
Oh, yeah.
you used to back here.
Yeah,
You know,
just like candy, right?
so but
Yeah.
so being able, it's got
Oh
coating
yeah,
on it.
down in Mexico,
I had no
he
idea.
bought it. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Gosh, thanks for JD for that
Yeah.
information. I'm going to start calling you Siri or Google.
No,
You're full of all kinds of information.
It's not a good thing. I mean, to know that stuff. I've had
No.
to learn it through the crap that I've had to see and
Well,
stuff.
that's good though.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like on that, because I mean, I've dealt with stuff with my significant other and stuff, and in that area with Xanax and the codeines, and also too. I mean, OxyContin's what took my sister's life. Almost 2 years ago. 26 years old.
Sorry.
Oh, that's sorry.
Yeah.
That's
So
bad.
I understand that
Wow.
world from
Right.
this side. I've done a lot of investigative work over the last 20 years. So
That's really good information. I'm glad that you shared that. So
Yeah,
thank you, because
'cause
I had no clue.
No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I couldn't understand why. I was just thinking.
because if you take like a Tylenol, like us normally would go take a Tylenol for a headache or
Uh-huh.
Tylenol cold and flu or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Tylenol PM's a whole little bit different game.
Wow.
So,
And he would take it during the day. I mean, it wouldn't be to go to sleep, if
Yeah.
he did. And he said it took the edge off. So.
yep, that would be.
Now I can see why. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's interesting. So he did quit drinking. He always drank beer, but when he had the gastric bypass, and after that he didn't drink beer. Then he went to the hard stuff, and I actually had it. So we didn't do carbonation because I had the gastric bypass as well. So once you don't drink the beer, you go to the hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did. But he was really good for almost a year and a half. And then we had a trip planned to Mexico with our friends that we always hung out with. And I said, I don't know if we should be going to Mexico because it is an all-inclusive,
Yeah.
and it's eat, drink, and
Be merry.
be merry.
Yeah.
And then he flat out told me he intended to drink back when we were in Mexico, and I didn't want to go, but we ended up going. It was kind of the trip from hell, but we went, and he drank. So,
Started up again.
yeah, he
Wow.
started up really bad. Passed out in the room. I got locked out of my room in Mexico
Oh my gosh.
because he passed out and left. I mean, was sleeping, and I went with the gang, and to dinner and stuff, and my room was locked when I got back. So, yeah,
Wow.
it was not a good trip, but.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
And
like
that
it.
was in February of 2012, and then he retired, and then he just kind of started drinking. But in April he retired and went to the doctor to get on something to help him quit drinking again. And I can't remember.
Was it Anabuse?
No,
Or Librium?
It was Librium.
Is Librium
Yeah,
one? Huh?
he was on Librium. I know that. Anabuse he had tried before, and so he didn't want to get on Anabuse. But he was on Librium and something, I'm not quite sure what meds he was on then. And Xanax, because I remember I had to hide the Xanax because I was afraid he'd overdose on it.
Yeah.
On that, and then taking it, I mean, again, not to go in, but if they take more than what they should,
Which he was doing.
then it's like they're not them, and it seems like it takes you forever to get back the person, and we're not talking just a few hours or a
No.
night of sleeping it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
I've completely, again, and I love my wife, she's an amazing woman and stuff, you know, and we all have our faults, but when she got heavy into some of that stuff, it was like I lost her for like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like,
he
because
wasn't-
she just wasn't
Yeah,
her.
when he started drinking
Wow.
this last time, he wasn't the same person at all.
Yeah, my ex-wife was taking 11 to 13 Xanax a day.
Oh
he
my heck.
he
I
probably
don't know
would
how
have
it
done
didn't kill
that.
her. I seriously don't know how it didn't
Oh,
kill
Well,
her.
If I didn't have it with me, he probably would have. But I
that.
kept it with me and just left
Yeah.
what he needed for the day. But he retired in April, and but before he retired, he was a supervisor at Hill, and they would actually, his lead or whatever they call him, would have to call me and say he's out of it. I need to bring him home. I don't know why he didn't lose his job the last month or two, but I think since he was retiring, they kind of
Let it
Kinda
go
let it
since he was
slide.
so close.
yeah.
And you said it picked up after he retired, because I've got, well, both my wife and I, we have friends that have retired from the police in that, and there's only a few of them, not all of them, but there are a few that they drank a lot as it was anyway when they had their days off. But it's
Mhm.
like once they retired, and I'm not blaming them on anything, because for hell's sake, they see a lot of shit that we don't see.
Right.
Dealing with a lot
And
of trauma.
a lot of trauma, and they got to
Mhm.
keep it. They can't talk about it, and they got to keep it held in. So, I mean, I would probably want to numb myself
Yeah.
as well, you know. But yeah, I mean, did you kind of see that pick up
Yeah.
once
I mean,
he retired?
he
on it?
had plans. He had some really good plans. He wanted to do excavation, and we bought some equipment, some big equipment that he could, but when he would be out working at trying to learn how to use it all at our house, and there's dance in the house, there's dance, because he would be drinking and doing this, and I'm not quite sure what his plan was, but he'd build a big trench around our yard with the excavator. I don't know if he was just trying to dig a trench or whether
Building a moat.
Yeah.
it was literally a moat. I'm not kidding. It was. And I had come home. It was a Monday day, and I ride Monday nights our club practices, and which he knew that, and I'd come back home from work, and he was pretty drunk, and he had this moat. And the excavator was in the middle of the yard, and this moat was around the house, kind of. Not around the whole house, but around our front yard. We have a driveway, and then our front lawn had this moat dug around it. And I don't know if he was thinking of changing the sprinkling system, because we built a new shop, and our sprinkling system had been ruined.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's what his thought was he would, but instead of just, it was like a
Oh
moat.
my gosh.
It was huge.
Wow.
Big pipe in there.
Yeah, some big sprinkler lights.
And
Yeah, some 10-inch
and there
sprinkler
was some,
lights.
and he was working, and I come home and I see all this stuff, and he's trying in the house, and he's hitting the roof of the house with the excavator
Oh my
thing, and
gosh.
I'm going, I don't think you should be on that right now, you know. And of course, we started an argument, and he wants his Xanax and he wants his stuff, and I'm going no, and I says, and I've got to go. I've got to get my horses. I've got to go, and 2 days prior to that, because this is part of the story, I had a horse up at a trainer that I had to go get, and he was drunk that day and was mad that I didn't. I wasn't doing what he wanted with the horses came first, you know. And I says, well, I've got to go get this horse, or I pay more money, because it's the end of the time. And I says, I'm going to take my dogs and I'm going to go for a ride and go get my horse. Are you going to come or not? And he didn't go, so he left this nasty note about my horses came first and my animals all came first. And I come home and read it, and I just thought, Christ, you know, and I just, you know, set it aside and didn't think anything of it. And that was on Saturday. But Monday, when we got in this fight, of course, that's he ran into the bedroom and grabbed his gun while we were fighting, and we actually fought over the gun, because I was trying to, and it was in a case. He didn't have the actual gun in his hand, but it was in a case, and I was trying to get the case away from him so he couldn't shoot himself.
Yeah.
But when I looked at him, he was not even like a human. It was just, he wasn't even there. It was just this darkness, just, and that's when you said you lost your wife, and it was like,
my sister.
Your sister. I'm sorry, your sister. And I just knew there was nothing I could do.
It's to relate on that. It's kind of like charity story.
That's why you and I looked at each other when she said that, because
he had that look in his face. She said that it was just like he just wasn't there. It wasn't him.
She said
like he was already gone.
The prettiest blue eyes, but that day his eyes were gray.
They were, exactly. That's exactly the look. And I just let go of the gun, of the box that it was in. And by the time I walked around our bed into the door of our bedroom, the gun went off. And that's how quick he pulled the gun out and shot himself.
Jeez almighty. And
so when I called the cops, they see that note that he'd left 2 days earlier. You know, they said, is this a suicide note? And I went, not really. It's just a mad at your wife note, you know.
Yeah.
But and then that was another cop experience. And they were really good. But I had broke all my fingernails.
Yeah, because you were battling over it.
In the fight. Yeah. So they had to take pictures of it. They take you down. And I called my sisters. Well, they called my sisters for me, because they're going, is there anybody we can call? You know, and I'm going, well, yeah, my sisters. So they all run over, my sisters who are home. I had one out of town. But they run down, and then the cops need to take me for interrogation. They do the gun residue.
Yeah, the residue,
and all that stuff. And you go and you are actually in a little room with the cameras up here, and they're reading your rights, and you're going, do I really need a lawyer? You know? But it was pretty clean, you know, clear, dry what it was. And they, you know, what one sister's
still
going.
Pretty intimidating to be put in that situation.
Especially right after.
And a lady officer had to take my clothing that I had on, and they had to bag she had to go into my bedroom and get me some new other clothing, because they were going to bag the clothing I had on.
Probably check for blood splatter and all that stuff.
For all that kind of stuff. And you know, and I'm going, okay. And one sister's going, God, do we need to call a lawyer? And the other one's going, no, you know, what we wasn't really even sure what to do then. So, but we just went down to the cop station, and I did my interrogation. They looked at all the text messaging, of course, that he had sent me during the day, which were all nasty stuff. You know, I want my meds, all that kind of stuff. I can't remember what they all were, but and they really didn't question anything. You know,
they were just doing their job.
They were doing their job, sure. and they were all really respectful and really nice. So I can't, you know. So.
Holy cow! That is That is so sad.
Thank you. So then, and it was a Monday night, my writing night. My sister calls well, Wendy says, "Oh, Cinda won't be there tonight." And Wendy's going, "Oh, okay, what, is everything okay?" "Oh, no, Chris just killed himself." And she's going, "What?" You know?
Yeah, no kidding.
You know? So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So it was a big, quite, but I have a great support system. You know, my club group has just been, was phenomenal. Wendy, our friend Wendy, who she bought the horse from, she stepped right in and helped with a lot of stuff, and all my club people came and helped. And
So you had a lot of support.
yeah, I've always had really good support. My sisters, my family, my friends. You know,
That's good, because we all need support in
Yeah.
one way or another. So
and even then, I really didn't. I mean, I went to grief group. I started with a grief group, and but I wasn't a big drinker then still, and I'm not even sure how the drinking started. And maybe part of it was that when I didn't really drink a lot out, because my friends don't drink. They're not big drinkers. None of my friends are big drinkers. My family's not big drinkers. You know, so when we go out to dinner, maybe somebody might have one drink, if even that. You know, none of them drink. You know, even camping, one night they may drink a little bit, but nobody ever did a pass out, get drunk type thing.
yeah, where they lose control.
You know,
And
none of them did. So I wasn't around a lot of drinking. I think my drinking started mainly being home alone, when I would just be home alone and have a glass of wine, and then it turned into another glass, and
that
then another glass.
I can
And then I
believe.
did retire. But but before I retired, I started my barrel racing season back up, and I had I had turned the horse that we had bought for Chris into my barrel horse, which he never wanted to do. But when I started riding, he only rode in the mountains, so I'd go out and start working the horses, and I just kept saying, this horse has too much talent just to be a mountain horse. So I turned his horse into my barrel horse. And he was a phenomenal horse, and his name was Rocky, and he was a big paint horse as well. And Chris died in 2012, and I think it was maybe 2 years later that I really started into the barrel racing. And my horse was doing really good. He's getting older, but he's doing really good. And in 2017, I entered a race in Las Vegas during the NFR. Not at the NFR, at the rodeo, but during that time.
Yeah.
So we went down and went down to do this big barrel race down at the NFR. And we got pretty tipsy down there, though. But we had a lot. It was all in fun. We still, and I did my barrel race. And the second run, I hit a barrel, so I didn't qualify. But it was a lot of fun. However, my horse colicked down in Vegas, which he started colicking, and 2 of us went to go check on the horse, and the other 2 went to the bar to save us a table. And of course, the 2 of us that went to check on the horse never showed up at the bar. And we just said, yeah, Rocky's colicking, we're going to walk him out, and because you just kind of walk him.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up, we called a vet. The vet came to the stable and gave him some meds to try and help him. But he still was getting worse, so then we ended up taking him at 3 a.m. to a veterinarian place so that they could do some ultrasounds and x-rays. And they discovered he was twisted. He had a twisted gut.
I had a horse pass away because of that.
So then the option was, and when they first saw it, they said, "Oh, he's just got a small impaction here." And this horse was 20, and they said, "Do you want to do surgery?" And I'm thinking, oh God, our friend just had surgery on her horse. That's like $10,000. But I said, yeah, this horse is worth it. He's at the top, and even though he's 20, he's still doing to the top. So we started the surgery, but midway they called us, and he was not doing well in the surgery. So we had him stop the surgery, and he passed on. But they want, and I'm panicking because now they still want their $5,000 that they started. You had to give them $5,000 up front before they'd even start the surgery. So I'm checking all my credit cards, and my people are going, yeah, I got this, and and then we lose him. And then they say, okay, now what do you want to do? And I'm going, what do you mean? Well, you've got to do something with his body. And you're going, oh, okay.
And you can't just bury it in your backyard.
You can't just bury a horse in Vegas. Yeah. So we actually, and they gave me options. We can haul him to, the junk, the yard or whatever, or you can have him cremated. So we actually had him cremated, and he's sitting in my living room in a big box.
Oh, wow.
So, but then it takes him 2 weeks to do that, and so then you still have to have the body, everything shipped. But, and I think part of losing, and I don't know what, I think that kind of was like the last...
It was like the tipping point.
The tipping point. It was, I think, being that he was Chris's horse. I'd lost Chris, now I lose his horse.
Yeah.
I still have one more horse that was his. But it was just, I think, and then the drama of losing him in Vegas, coming home with your empty horse trailer, all the hype and everything. I know people think, God, it's just an animal, but...
Yeah, but still,
it was
they've
like
got feelings, they've got emotions.
I know.
Yeah. So let's take a moment and stop for a quick commercial break right now, and then when we come back, Cinda, let's go further into that, because it sounds like that's kind of when your tipping point started and things started even changing for you. So, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
How do you start your morning? Start it with a cup of High Point coffee. Because no matter where you go or what you do, it's always better with coffee. High Point Coffee. What's your high point? Located on the corner of 7800 South and Redwood Road in West Jordan. And a special thanks goes out to our partners in Oxford, Mississippi.
This is Gregory, owner of Lift Up Concrete, proudly serving the Wasatch Front for the last 12 years, lifting sunken flatwork for both residential and commercial applications. Only fully trained professionals lifting concrete at your residence with the same quality of material and method used at every commercial job we ever do. Don't replace it, lift it. liftupconcrete.net, 801-792-4535. Contact us at liftupconcrete.net, or if you're looking for a complimentary quote, 801-792-4535. Again, 801-792-4535. Again, this is Gregory, Lift Up Concrete Lifting.
Hello, my friends. This is Brad Neufeld, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Resilience Talk Network. You can listen to my show, Resilience, every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. On my show, we will be discussing what it takes for you to overcome the day-to-day challenges that all of us face in life, as well as some of the devastating ones that may lead us to feelings of hopelessness and despair. It's my goal to provide you with the tools and skills that you need to overcome anything that is thrown your way. To find out more about my show, visit our website at www.resiliencetalk.com. That's www.resiliencetalk.com. resiliencetalk.com. And as always, until we meet again, go for everything that you want in life and make it happen.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Other Side of Addiction. Gosh, we've got some great stuff going on. Cinda's been telling a story about where things are going, and we're going to get into that. And so before we move forward, we want to definitely say thank you to so many sponsors. I mean, you guys hear this on every show, and I'm going to continue to say it on every show because I'm so grateful, and we feel so blessed to have the support of so many people. High Point Coffee in West Jordan off of 7800 South in Redwood Road. And if it wasn't for High Point and also Brad Neufeld with Resilience Talk Network, this wouldn't be happening right now. Those guys jumped in after sitting down with Steve for 2 hours, the owner of High Point Coffee, sitting down with him, telling him what our plans were. I mean, this really got the ball rolling. So we are very grateful and very blessed to have these guys in our life. Lift Up Concrete, we got Gregory and Tosh, good people. My wife and I love spending time with these guys. They're just incredible people who have so much love and kindness, and they have given us every bit of their support. Brad was Serve Pro. We're going to thank all the Serve Pros from Ogden all the way down to St. George. We've got USARA, which is Utah Support Advocates for Recovery Awareness. Thank you guys so much for everything that you do. Oh my gosh, I can't even. I'm going brain dead right now. Letitia and Kevin, Computer Hospital. I tell you what, those guys are great. If you got computer issues and you don't know what to do or where to go, I would say take them to Computer Hospital. They're in Sandy, just right off of State Street. We're going to be having a commercial coming up with these guys here pretty soon, but you can definitely take your stuff there and they will give you honest opinion. They're not there to take your money. They're there to help you get through whatever issues that you're having with your computer. Also want to say thank you to Austin and Cameron for at Refiner Production. Some of you guys have seen some of the videos that I've posted up on Facebook kind of telling my story. Those are the guys that did that. They're the ones that also did the High Point Coffee commercial. These guys are great. As a matter of fact, one of our guests from St. George, Mallory Roosh, she's actually coming up, and she's going to work with them. They're going to do some stuff for her. So, and then we also want to thank Taffy Town. They're one of our newest sponsors. Guys, thank you so much for your support and believing in what we're doing. And a good friend to my buddy Shane Buckley with SDB Enterprise. He's the one that spent a lot of time, took time out of his work day to put up this incredible wall, this backdrop that we have behind us, and it is
great.
So flipping cool.
It's
now,
beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I walked in today and I was like, oh man, this is so awesome. This is great.
I love it.
And now we got to get some decorations up, and I think we've got some guests that have been on our show that's like, yeah, we're on it, man. We'll take care of it. So yeah, some of our lady guests, they're like, yeah, we'll hook you up. So they're already checking some stuff out to see what they can do to help us. So guys, thank you. And again, Brad, thank you so much from Resilience Talk Network for all your support. And I actually got through this one without getting too emotional, because I usually get emotional thanking everybody, and also thanking you. Now I'm getting some. Anyway, thank you to all our listeners, because it's because of you guys that is making this all possible and helping us grow this. I mean, this thing is taking off, and it's because of you guys. So thank you very much. And before I need a tissue to start sobbing even more. All right, and to you beautiful ladies for being on our show, thank you so much for taking time.
Absolutely.
And to my beautiful, lovely friend over there, JT. But all right, let's move on here. Oh, my dear, thank you so much. So Cinda, you were kind of putting some stuff there at the end of the show, or at the end of before our commercial break,
Right.
about you're not really for sure what it was, but losing your husband, losing his horse, may have kind of been that tipping point, because
Right.
I've been learning from a lot of people that JD, and even when Lori was here that we interviewed and had on as guest, sometimes there's things festering inside of us we don't even know it's there. And then one day, whatever it is, it clicks and it happens.
It doesn't even happen right after the incident.
Right.
Either.
Right, good
Yeah.
It
point.
sometimes takes a long time, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you're like, "Where did this come
Right.
from?" But it's like you said, it's just
It is,
festering in
and
there.
and
Yeah.
it's like, because when I lost Rocky, it was like a big part of my life. Just I had to almost start over with it. I mean, and it's hard because
You spend all that time
you
with
spend
him.
all that time with the horse, and we've had this horse since he was 2, so we had him 18 years.
My gosh.
And I was just starting a new hobby, I guess, the barrel racing, and he
Mhm.
was at the top of his form, and he was just, doing so awesome, and it was like we were just a team, and then it's just gone, and I'd lost other horses. I mean, this isn't by far the first horse I've lost in all my life, because I've had horses my entire life, but for some reason losing him, and probably because he was Chris's, and just the drama and trauma of losing him in Vegas, and the hype that we went down with the big hype and come
Yeah.
home with nothing, and then trying to decide whether I wanted to find a replacement, keep barrel racing, my club stuff I could use any horse really for the club stuff, because it's not the professional type stuff. It's just kind of all for fun. And then the horse I found, she's an awesome horse, but we just weren't clicking. And then you get discouraged, and you lose kind of like faith in your own riding abilities, and thinking. So then I would just go home and maybe be on a pity party, thinking, "Oh my God, I can't ride anymore." I'll just
mention that just on
Yeah.
a horse and stuff, like how you were with Rocky is,
Yeah.
and I've had, again, with our horses, it's the same thing. Like, I loved all the horses, they're all part of the family, but it was like that one horse where, like, when you got on and you rode, it was like you were one thing together.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't explain it. I've hopped on some horses that were amazing, and they went well with some other riders, and it was like, no, like, I had my specific horse. I was like, no, I'm going to get on him because we just work together. We take care
Yeah.
and watch after each other. Like, it was just like this special bond. I mean, he'd come running around he'd break out of the pasture and, like, wait for me around the back door of the
Right.
house. Like, that's kind of the friendship there. So when you have that,
Yeah.
and then you're trying to create what you and Rocky had with something else that just can't
Right.
be there because it's not Rocky.
And it's not gonna. You'll never have that horse again. You'll never have that. But he had such a fan base. It was he really had his own like fan club, but it was just, I think, just the impact of trying to ride different horses, and then my backup horse that I was going to start riding, I also lost him to colic a year
Oh my
later. So that
gosh.
was just another blow. Then I'd raised that one from a baby, and he was kind of my backup horse, and so then I'm going, God, I can't ride anymore. You lose confidence a little bit in yourself, and trying to find the right horses, and then I just started drinking it more at night alone, and I would just drink all night, or when I wake up I'd drink. There was always a drink in my hand at home. And I'd be out on my track trying to have my glass of wine or my whatever. I'd put vodka in my water bottle. That would started being my drink. I'd go out and till or do my tractoring. I'd have vodka with my water bottle, and I would go easily through one. I don't know what they're even called, pints, quarts, whatever. I would just liter,
Yeah.
a fifth. I would buy 2 instead of one big one, but I could go through a box of wine in almost one night,
Holy cow.
just drinking by myself. it got to that point. And I didn't drink during the day out, like with friends, but I had still drank the night before, and I'd be driving. So I was still probably intoxicated and I'm driving my rigs, I'm driving people with my horses. I'm driving my horses, I'm driving my friends with their horses. But I wouldn't drink, to me, and drive. That's how you... Technically, yeah. I'm not out drinking with friends and driving home. Because even when I went to a restaurant, I may only have like one drink. Because I said, no, I got to drive home, But I knew as my problem progressed that I had a problem. Because
when did you know that, though? I mean, was there just one day all of a sudden that light bulb went off?
No, I think
when did you figure it out?
I just think I kept thinking, I'm drinking too much. I've got to cut back. And I actually did go to my doctor and get on Antabuse, and didn't drink for a bit. And then I started drinking again, even a week after. In fact, I had a bad reaction to Antabuse because I drank while I was on it. And I had a real bad experience with that.
I bet.
Yeah. But I had only, I'd been off it like for 3 days, because Antabuse you took daily, but I hadn't taken it for maybe 3 days, so I figured I'd be okay, but I wasn't. And I was at with my grief group on a Tuesday night. We'd go hit about time, and I didn't even really even have a drink. I mean, I not drink, I shouldn't say that. I had just taken a couple drinks of my drink, and I just felt really like I was sick. So I thought, I got to go to the restroom. And I got up and I blacked out.
Oh my gosh.
And the people in the bar are thinking, oh my God, look at that girl, she's drunker than, and they're going, no, she didn't drink. She's not drunk. And I woke up, and then the people got me up, and when I stood up, I crashed again. Of course, this one turned into a joke because I crashed right into this lady's boobs, and she's going, help me,
I'm getting attacked.
And they actually ended up they called the EMTs, because I couldn't figure out why I was passing out. It didn't think at that time about I didn't think about it until after I got home, because they called my sister, and she came and she met me at my house. Somebody drove my car home, and somebody drove me home, and somebody else drove my car home, and then my sister met me at my house because they didn't know if I was going to pass out again. But then it dawned on me, and we read the side effects and stuff, and I thought, it's got to be that Antabuse, that I drank.
Yeah.
Even 3 days later on Antabuse.
Did that kind of, that light bulb go off in your head where you're like, I'm scared?
Yeah, it went off, but it
shitless.
didn't. But it
didn't register.
No, and there was a couple different light bulbs that went off, and even before I started drinking. And then I thought, well, maybe it's just the reactions I'm having. I went to Disneyland with my niece and my sisters, and we were down at the pool drinking, and I had a drink, and I really wasn't even drinking that much, and I couldn't figure out why, but I actually had a drink, and then we ordered dinner, and next thing I remember, I was in the room talking to my sister, and I said, well, when's dinner coming? And they said, well, we ate down at the pool. I could not remember anything.
Oh my God.
At all.
Wow.
And I thought, God, I didn't even feel like I'd been drinking. And that the light bulb kind of went off then, and I thought, okay, I've got to slow down. I've got to quit. And I maybe would quit for a couple days, and then it would go back. And but it started getting progressively worse, and I actually talked to one of my friends about it, because she asked me if I should go into rehab, and I kept saying, no, I'm going to go to my doctor, get on some pills. And I actually did have some pills, natroxyl, but I didn't take them daily. And it's supposed to help you with your cravings. And but I didn't take them daily, and it's a daily pill because I'm not really that good at taking pills, even vitamins and all that stuff. But my friend Michelle, she kept asking me, do you think you need help? And I would say, yeah, I need to quit. I know I need to quit, And my other friends all started noticing, my sisters, my friends. And last year in June, one of my friends calls and she says, hey, we're going to go over to so-and-so's house for something. And she come up to my house, and we got in the car, and I thought, there's something up, there's something up. And I thought, they're going to do an intervention. And that's exactly what my friends did.
Wow, holy cow.
And so that was on a Saturday in right before, I think it was right around Father's Day. And all my groupies, all my friends who'd been through with everything, my family, my friends, Lucy, all my friends, they were all there, and had an intervention. And they said, we have it all worked out, and your excuse for not getting help was always my animals. I had 6 horses, 4 dogs, all this. I gotta take care of them. They showed me a calendar. They're taking care of it. They're taking care of it. We know you need help. They did the intervention, and I said, oh, okay. When do I go? Right now. You got an hour.
Right now.
They did, really literally. They said your check-in's at 3:00 today, and I went, huh. But I had retired in the meantime, which you say, and that I think just sitting home, and then COVID. I retired right after COVID, right before COVID hit. So then everything, of course, you can't blame everything on COVID, but you do, because you can't go out. Friends weren't coming over. You couldn't have your little get-togethers, and so I would just sit home and drink. We still did our writing thing. We'd go writing, we still did that, but you couldn't have your get-togethers like you used to.
A lot of the guests that we've had on the show who have battled the addictions, they talked about wanting to quit. I mean, my wife during her battle many, many times, really said she wanted to quit. And I think for us 3, we believe it there for a little bit, right? And then after so long, we're like, yeah, you're just trying to pull the wool over our eyes because we really don't think you do. But I think that's the mistake we make as well, because I have found out through my own experience and through the experience of others that they really do want help.
Right.
And I couldn't imagine having an intervention. I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, I probably would have gave them all the F you and said, yeah, right, okay, get the hell out of my house.
I think they thought I was going to do that.
I mean...
So they're all geared up.
Even with you, Janessa, with stuff that you've gone through, how would have your spouse handled that? I mean, do you think they would have taken it?
I always, when... I talk about when you're like in the addiction, right in the middle of it, it really is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Or my favorite was like Schmeagol and Gollum. 1 minute they're like, oh my gosh, you're so pleasant. And then next you're like, oh my gosh,
who are you?
Yeah. And I hated that part of my husband because it was so scary. It was so intimidating. He knew exactly what to do to trick me into, helping him or enable him to his addiction and stuff like that. And, but it's just like we said, like, they really wanted help. I mean, my husband told me that there was a point where he was praying every night. He's like, please help me get caught. Like, help me get caught in the act, because I can't stop this on my own. I'm not strong enough. It's like the addiction had just completely consumed him, and he wasn't strong enough. And so when he did get caught, immediately we just, we we put him into these intensive and everything like that. But I wish I would have just said, I wish I would have just gone and be like, no, we're getting help right now. Not waited till a crash or something. But you don't really know how to.
But sometimes that's hard too, because the reaction and stuff, forcing somebody to go in and get the help when they don't want the help or they don't think anything's wrong, they're not going to reciprocate that very well, or that treatment. And so they'll be like, or they might go and be like, okay, I'm just going to do it to make my wife happy or make my friends happy or whatever. As soon as I'm out, I'll probably learn a few tricks how I can hide it better. Right, in that sense. And so having it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, you got to be careful walking that fine line.
You can't force them, but at the same time, I don't know, you can see the bigger picture.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been on both sides,
And
so I knew I knew what the drinking did, because I was on that side of not drinking when I was trying to help my husband through his, because I didn't drink when he was trying to quit, and so I thought to myself, oh, I can quit. I've done it before. I didn't quit. I didn't drink for over a year when Chris was having his issues. But you really can't. You
lose that insight.
You're just
right?
You're just trying to talk yourself into it. And I would tell myself that I know I've got to quit, but I'm not hurting anybody because I'm drinking at home by myself.
And that's, I'm not going to say it in that, because obviously you remember how you felt when it was going on with Chris, right? So obviously having that trigger that's feeling, this is how they're feeling, how you felt. And I love my wife. She's an amazing woman, a beautiful woman and stuff, but we've gone through those things, and I always believed that she didn't want to be in that spot, she wanted to be better, and like we always want to be better for our significant others and those around us, right? But it's just like sometimes that thing just grabs you and it controls you. And not to be proud, but once you go that route, I'd be like, oh, well, it's like Betty showed up. Like, I don't like Betty. Like, I didn't invite her over.
What is she doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and like
you didn't even call for her, so I'm really disappointed in this.
And it's like you said, Cinda. Or maybe it was JD. You're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Because my wife said that a lot too. Why? I'm not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not, you're freaking hurting me.
Well, see, and I was a home alone. I didn't have anybody
so you didn't have anybody
to call the shots or anybody I had to be accountable for.
Yeah.
I had retired, so I didn't drink at work. I may have had a drink before work.
Yeah.
But I didn't ever drink at work. But and then of course I drank when I got home. But I could go to work. I wasn't hurting anybody.
So you felt like you wasn't hurting anybody, and. Another thing, like JD was saying, it is a fine line, because my wife's admitted many times, and even the time she's got up and shared in AA, I don't know, what was it, the first 3 or 4 times or something like that she went to rehabs. She didn't do it for her. She was doing it for me.
Well, that's what Chris did too.
And that was the wrong way of doing it, and it's not really all her fault, because I was pushing her into it as well. So I've got to take half that blame, because I didn't realize the proper steps of taking, and I don't think I would have ever called her family over. I thought about it many times to do like an intervention, but that little voice kept coming over going, no, that's the wrong thing to do. And then 3 or 4 weeks later, I'm thinking, I'm going to do it. And that little voice coming in and going, no, don't. And I'm glad I didn't, because I think where the situation was with us, I think it would have compounded it probably 100 folds.
Well, yeah, and to me the intervention just was like, you dumbass, you do need help, and you know it, and this is your chance to get the help you know you need.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was drinking too much by then, I knew it, and everybody knew it. You can't hide it, really. You think you can, but, you can't.
So how many years did you spend trying to, you had an intervention. Your friends are like, you're going right now. Pack the bags, let's go. How many years did you still kind of battle with that? I don't know of anybody that I've met yet that got it the very first time. I mean, I don't know anybody yet, even in all the AA meetings that I've heard people get up and talk. Maybe you were one of them, but did you get it, or did you still take time after getting out of that, like you said, in hiding it? Because I tell you what, my wife was freaking good. Now I knew she was drinking because I could
And the people
tell.
I've met they're good at, they were good
But,
at hiding, but I didn't
yeah.
have to hide it because I
You had nobody at
I had
home,
nobody
right?
at home, so it could be sitting right there. I kept thinking to myself, well, if I go put it out in the garage, it will be harder to get to. I'll have to walk over there and get it.
Like hiding it from yourself.
Hiding it from myself. So I would do that. I'd go put the wine out in the fridge in the shop, so I'd have to take more time, to go find it, and it was more of an inconvenience, but I would still drink.
Oh, I gotta go check on the horses.
Yeah, that's
to the
it,
garage.
yeah. But I would do that kind of at home when people were there. Oh, I'll be back. I got to go check on something. I'd go have my glass of wine or my.
I remember those.
But not only was, but I had probably put on 30 pounds. I was gaining weight. I'd had the gastric bypass to lose weight. Now I'm gaining weight because I'm drinking too much crap, wine and vodka.
Yeah.
I wasn't sleeping. I maybe slept 3 hours a night,
Oh my gosh.
if that. I'd go to bed at midnight, get up at 3 because I couldn't sleep. People think, well, that's because couldn't you? And when I did sleep, it was probably more that I drank too much and passed out. I always said, yeah, I fell asleep, but it's probably I drank, and because I'd wake up and thinking, God, what day is it?
Yeah.
Did I sleep through the day? But it, I knew it was time. I did.
Mm-hmm.
And when these guys had the intervention, and it was just funny because my friend was so nervous, Steph, she was so nervous picking me up and taking me to where it was actually at her house, and to Kathy's house, and I saw the cars, and I thought, I know what they're doing. I just knew it.
Y'all should have hid the cars a little bit.
Well, there was most of them. They may have carpooled together, but there was a couple cars. I thought, why would they be at Kathy's house? Like Lucy's, because Lucy and Kathy had not. They did not know each other until then, because they were different friends then. But and yeah, I could have said, fuck you, walked away, walked home, or just said, take me home. But like I said, I think it was just the thought that, okay, this is, they're going out of their way. My friends have always been there for me. They're really, they have their little schedule of when they're feeding my animals, and, they took the time to really
To work it out.
And
Wow.
they said, you're going to be in there for 30 days. And I'm going, no way. I can't leave my dogs for 30 days and my horses for 30 days. But, and yeah, I can't remember what time. It was probably 11-ish that we had the intervention. And by 5 o'clock, I was in Provo
Holy
at
cow.
Ardu, at the Ardu Recovery Center.
Isn't
And-
it amazing how, when hearing you talk about, your friends intervene and you didn't fight back, you just okay, I will go with this. I feel like as living with an addict and working with one, that little moment doesn't happen ever. I waited for years for my husband to get to that point, and it never did. And it was finally it was just that one moment where he kind of surrendered and was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna get help. It was like everything just fell into place, and there was people to support,
Right.
and they were there. It was almost like they were just waiting for that moment, I think that is so amazing. I don't believe in coincidences, so when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, that is so awesome that
And I'm
it
not.
just worked like that.
I haven't really been overall I grew up Mormon, of course, but I I've never been really spiritual, but it's like things, and is it your higher power working?
Yeah.
You know, even the night Chris killed himself, my back was to him, but he put the gun in his mouth and shot, and for whatever reasons it didn't go through his head and kill me.
Oh my gosh.
You know, because I was,
Yeah.
it could have very easily, because normally, you know, I don't know, I've never been around that, but I would, you know, that was a chance it could have happened, but it didn't.
Well, go ahead. don't
But
wanna
I was going to
interrupt
say, so I think, you know, maybe the spirit, the higher power is working. I'm still working on that part. I'm still becoming more spiritual. But as you look back at things, you think, well, maybe that is the higher power working with you,
you. Yeah.
you know, and you've got to accept it and go. And I think with the friends doing that, I think that was, like I said, it was my moment to say, yes, I know I need help, and I should take it when I can.
That window.
Good for you for doing that.
And I was going to say, again, talking about higher power, and something that I think we're all, you know, like me now, and I'm sure even you know, it's something we work on and stuff. And I've been at one of those spots where I definitely had my doubts about spirituality, period.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
Right.
yeah, this is a bunch of garbage, because, you know, I asked for, you know, an answer. And usually just because I wasn't getting the answer I wanted, I was really, you know, like, okay, yeah, no, definitely not my favor. But, you know, in that, as I've grown over the years and stuff, you know, again, if your friends hadn't intervened or stuff, what would have happened, you know, the point that maybe you hopped in the truck with the horse trailer, or gone down the road, got in an accident, killed you or your animals, or
Right.
something bad happened, or you killed somebody else.
Right.
You know, so having that timing's always everything. And I don't, you know, in my spirituality of a higher power or God, I don't think his timing's off at all. I do believe it's on purpose, but again, the things that you've gone through in life, your story is so strong and impactful for what you've gone through, you know, with, even having a decent childhood, you know, to just, you know, being with the husbands, and then the one with with Chris, you know, and dealing with Rocky, and just, you know, it's a lot to take on for any human, you know, any person. And so, you know, you're here telling your story.
Right.
And for people to hear that and stuff, it's it's moving, it's encouraging, and to know
Yeah.
that you know,
That
everything's gonna be okay.
it's possible to continue to move
Right.
forward. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember if I read it in a book or what, but
I whispered it to you.
did you whisper it to me? One of those sweet soft nothings is what it was.
Sweet things.
So, yeah. But I mean, life's going to throw us challenges no matter
Right.
what. But it's designed
Right.
that way for us to grow. Somebody that I heard talking, and gosh, I talk to so many people, and we have so many incredible guests on our show, but it's like, what? Oh, I know who it was. It was Melissa from New Mexico. She's like, why is it that she survived through her addiction, and other people that she partied with didn't make it?
Right.
Why is it that she moved forward?
What's the difference?
What's the difference? And I think she even said that. What is the difference? Because there was no difference. They were all battling the same things. Maybe they had different demons that they were going through, but I don't know.
Well, it's also too, when we went up to Wasatch Recovery for the dinner or whatever.
Yeah, for
You know, when
alumni
we were talking
night.
about people, the same incidents that what's been battled on with a lot of the people there. You know,
Mhm.
you mentioned a couple of them that alcohol won them. You know, and they're not here anymore. And so, like, I'm just relating that.
Right.
To, you know,
Yeah.
that's again, and the same thing with Melissa when she was on here again. Why me?
Yeah, why did I go forward and these other people lost their
Right.
battle?
I mean, even with,
you know?
because Chris lost his battle,
Yeah,
you know, and he lost his battle against his addiction.
but it could be, and I don't know. I'm not saying I'm right here. I'm probably way off in left field, but it could be because how it affected you, how the stuff JD went, how it affected him, Janessa, myself, my wife, Kathy. I mean,
Right.
anybody. Did that stuff happen for a reason? Because we needed to be on a different path,
Right.
and we needed something bad to happen in our life to put us on a different path. Because I shared last week, and I shared it with JD and Charity when we were up at Recovery Day. I was asked one time if I had an addiction, and I partied my ass off with Coke and beer every Friday and Saturday night. That's how I dealt with my stress from my job.
Right.
And I remember when I got asked that question, I started to say no. And then I stopped and I went, I'm just looking at it because it was just like a weekend thing, but it was every freaking weekend
Right.
for years.
Yeah.
And I hit it really well. But then when the tipping point, when things switched around, my wife shared it when she got her 9-month chip a couple of weeks ago. It's like we switched roles. All the crap we've gone through now has put me on this path that a year ago, even 2 years ago, I thought about it a year ago, but would I be here? And then to have somebody like you two beautiful ladies come in and share your stories of you guys have gone through shit, and now you're sharing your stories and it helps you, but it's helping so many other people.
Right.
JD has come on and shared his story, and it's helping so many people to realize, maybe life really it's a platter served to me every day with shit on it, but it's not always going to be that way.
When
Right.
I would have never said this in the moment, but my husband and I, now that we look back on it, he's in October he'll hit 2 years of sobriety.
Wow.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Which is so awesome.
Yeah.
It's huge. I never thought in a million years we'd make that. But we look back at it, and I can honestly say this, that it was a sacred trial. It was, without it, my husband and I wouldn't be so close
Mm-hmm.
like we are now.
Right.
And I'm so grateful for that. I'm like, I would have never said that. In the moment, you're just like, oh my gosh, like, everything's stacked against me. Is there a God? Is he watching out for me? And you're just so pissed off at life.
And then you're looking at them like, how could you do this to me? Like,
Yeah.
what did I do?
Yeah.
But now that you
Right.
get to this side, you're like, it all had a place. I had to fight through that. We fought for our relationship, and it made it that much stronger. But then you do look at other people, I've had 2 family members commit suicide. I had alcoholism in my family. One of my family members died of, from alcoholism. And something that, because I've asked that question a lot, what's the difference? And I think it's that moment, and I really believe it's higher power. I believe in God, and that he gives you that window, and we ultimately, and the addict has a choice to allow people to help them.
Right.
And to reach
Yes.
out. And those are rare moments, but I really think that is one of the big differences, is that people reach out, and that there's such a strength in that. And I feel kind of selfish in saying this, but one of the reasons I get out and share my story is because it keeps me accountable. It keeps me it motivates me to keep going, to not give up. You've got all these people hearing your story, and you're like, people are holding me accountable,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a hard journey.
Well, and it takes a lot of guts. Seriously, and JD and I, we say this all the time. For people like yourselves to come to a show, to be videotaped, to be recorded,
Where millions of people are listening.
and there will be millions.
There will be.
But to be vulnerable and say, hey, this is what happened in my life, and it's not to make the other person look bad. It's just saying, man, it was a battle for all of us.
Right.
And look where we're at today, right? We made it. Now, are the challenges gone? Oh, hell no. They're always going to be there. But I've had people say to me, it's like, man, how the hell did you go through that and you're still by your wife? Because you said it on your show. How many people are saying, leave him.
Mm-hmm.
You got to leave your husband. He's always going to be like this. I got told that so many times about my wife. Leave. I think you and I shared, something kept me. And it had to be something larger than me, because as many times, I mean, on the phone, filing divorce, and things kind of delayed and delayed and
Right.
delayed and delayed. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to,
Well,
but,
also too to that, when you're with a person, and I'm just, on all of us, but like when you meet that person, right? You met your husband, again, when you guys met, me and my wife, like you guys have that moment of lust, right? That you've fallen in love with the person, emotions are high, you're just
your
crazy
sales pitch
about,
was awesome, right?
yes, you're right there, but everything, and it's like that, and then when you figure out that you truly love that person and that you have fallen in love with them, it's one of those things like you want to continue to hold that light for the rest of your forever, right? And so, but because you've had that, it's like, again, I'm going to relate this to somebody that has an addiction, but getting high. As a relationship, that's the ultimate high you can have, and you want to keep that. And you can if you work on it. Obviously, relationships keep work. And when they're going down and they're battling because of issues like this, there many issues that come up in a relationship. But that key factor, too, to try to work it and keep things through, it's because you still remember who you fell in love with.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
want them to be there. You know who they are. It's just like they've just buried that person down inside under all this stuff.
It's like you kind of have to hold that bigger picture and see the perspective, kind of sit back and be like, I know he's in there.
Well,
and
that
I
was
hold on to it.
Not trying to help Chris. I didn't want to. There was something there still, to keep me there and try to help him and try to help our marriage too. But,
Yeah. It's kind of like you want to take that hammer and break that frickin' shell,
Yeah.
right? Because like you said, you know they're there because you've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now
That's what you fell in love with.
Yeah, it's what you
Right.
fell in love with.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me, I think it was today, I think Mark asked it, but it's like where I see our relationship is now, like what you're just talking with you and your husband. I mean, I remember when Jeanette and I, we were in a grocery store and we're standing in line and I hear her say something. I think she's talking to me and I turn around and she's freaking talking to somebody behind us. That's never been her. Ever. In all the years we've been together. There's no way in hell she's talking to somebody she doesn't know. Now she's talking to somebody she doesn't know. We were somewhere a couple weeks ago and I look around and I'm like, where the hell did Jeanette go? Now, my first thought, that trigger kicks in. Right?
What's going on?
Even though I know she's in a good place, but that trigger kicked in. I'm
Right.
thinking, okay, where is she? And then I finally spot her, and she's over there talking with somebody. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's like I shared in one of the talks. It's almost like I'm in a whole new relationship because I'm seeing this woman that I've known for 15 years, almost 16 years, coming out to be a totally different person, but it's somebody that somehow, some way, I knew that person was in there. I just needed to give it time
Right.
to hatch instead of trying to force it
But
to hatch.
the other thing is feeding it you fed with love, from a place of love. Like we've all been in that
Right.
moment, I'm sure you had moments with Chris, like you mentioned it, but where you're just like, screw you, dude, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I don't deserve this.
And same, I bet, obviously we've all been there, and you're battling it with anger. Like you probably go in and get pissed off and be like, why
Yeah.
drinking, why are they doing this, why are they doing that,
Yeah.
like did I wake up and just not look good anymore? Like did something happen? Like again, making light of it, but you feel like it's somewhere your fault and you get angry at it, right? And it's not. Obviously there's just something going on that we've not, again, clearly at this point, when we need to go to rehabs, we need to go get the help that we need. It's because those are people that are professionals. Those are the ones where we as humans and spouses want to be the one that fixes it.
Right.
Right? And you can't
the
fix it because there's
enablers.
nothing that's broken.
Just-
It's just something that's going on that.
Yeah.
It's just like Jeanette told me once when I picked her up for a weekend from rehab. She's like, for frickin' once, I wish you'd be my husband instead of my damn therapist.
Oh, well, at my rehab.
You know?
It'd been really nice, at the time of birth, if we would have all been handed a manual.
A manual?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was still so confusing. He couldn't write us one. So
No.
yeah.
Well, let's hurry and break for another quick commercial, and then we'll come right back and we'll wrap this thing up, and let's talk about once you went and kind of where your life ended up. Because when you and I first met, I mean, you shared a little bit, and yeah, it sounds like things are great for you right now. I mean, so again, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Good morning, this is Leticia with Computer Hospital. We are your computer repair experts for both PC and Mac. We are your community resource for all of your computer repair needs. What makes us different is that we want to fix your computer. We also do free diagnostics. We charge a flat rate labor, which means that you won't pay by the hour. All of our computer repair is done in-house with a fast turnaround time, and same-day service is also available. Feel free to stop by anytime without an appointment. We're located in Sandy at 8721 South State Street. Again, that's 8721 South State Street. Or call us at 801-987-3993. Again, that's 801-987-3993. This is Leticia with Computer Hospital, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Hello there, this is Brad Neufeld with the Resilience Talk Network, and I would like to introduce to you Taffy Town, one of our newest sponsors. Let me introduce you to Derek.
Hi, I'm Derek from Taffy Town. We're proud sponsors of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. Taffy Town is a family-owned and operated business still operating in the Salt Lake City area for over 100 years. We manufacture some of America's best saltwater taffy.
What makes Taffy Town stand out from all of the others?
We have a unique recipe, a whipped-style recipe that incorporates egg whites, evaporated milk, real sea salt. It's a unique product that is flavorful, melts in your mouth, and the best part is we probably have a flavor for anyone's liking, a flavor for any reason, for any season. We have unique flavors like chicken and waffles, maple bacon, frosted cupcake. New this year was a pineapple ghost pepper flavor.
That's awesome. Where can people find out more about Taffy Town and all of its products?
You can check all of this stuff out. All of our products are available for sale on taffytown.com. We ship for free from our website, so all of our pricing on there is shipping included. Oftentimes we offer special promotions and discounts to our loyal customers, so do be sure to sign up for an account, and we look forward to seeing what we can do to make you smile with our taffy.
Where are you located?
We are currently located at 9813 South Prosperity Road in West Jordan, Utah, just at the foothills of the Copper Canyon Mine.
Derek, taffy has always been a great gift to give. What are some of the creative ways Taffy Town can help say thank you to others?
Yeah, if you're looking for gift ideas, whether to say thank you to friends or family, or maybe to your clients after such a difficult or successful year that you've had, you could look no further than to get a gift idea from taffytown.com. We offer pre-packaged gift boxes that say that it's saltwater taffy from the city of the Great Salt Lake, and it tells a little bit about the history of our community and making candy for so long. You can also do customized gifts to pick out just the right flavors or colors of candy for that special someone, and deliver even a personalized message in that box to them. So please feel free to check out taffytown.com for any gift ideas this season.
Thank you so much, Derek. Please visit taffytown.com, that's taffytown.com, to find out more about the products and services that Taffy Town offers. You won't be disappointed.
Do you know someone who's gambling with death due to an addiction? Do you know someone whose life is being turned upside down due to a loved one that's battling with addiction. Hi, I'm Al Richards. I am the host of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I started the podcast due to my wife's battle with alcohol. Let's just say I became addicted to her addiction. Our podcast is helping people understand a little more about those who have battled addiction and those who are hurting from their addiction. Through raw vulnerability, we share stories that help uncover the root causes of addiction. Shame felt on both sides, matter of the conscious and subconscious mind, continued beliefs, and often confusing paths of recovery. We collaborate with real people and their stories, as well as licensed professionals, to help our audience gain a better understanding of addiction. You can find us on Resilience Talk Network. You can also find us on Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. That's Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look up the Other Side of Addiction podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Other Side of Addiction. We've had a great show for you so far, and we've been having a pretty good chat here during the commercial breaks. But before we get started again, we've got some more sponsors we want to say thank you to. We want to say thank you to Troy Hoddle from I Am Powered Ninja Real Estate, TJ McLeland from Fitness Realty, and Advance Business Books, which is a bookkeeping company. Tatiana Rose, met her at a networking group, and then her and I met for a half-hour coffee, which ended up to be like 2.5 hours, which it usually ends up that way. But yeah, very, very grateful for all their support. And even though we thanked Brad at the first break, we're just going to thank him again. Brad, thank you for all your support. Resilience Talk Network. Guys, get on Resilience Talk Network. These guys are growing every day, and we're going to continue to grow. And we've got a lot of good things here planned here in the near future. Hopefully things are going to explode. So,
Good.
All right. So, Cinda, your friends did an intervention.
Right.
You went to rehab, and it seems like things kind of started connecting with you. I'm getting a Charlie horse in my leg, so I'm not trying to show my leg on camera.
Well, before I went to rehab, I did pick up another barrel horse.
Okay.
And we were really starting to click, and I was doing these barrel races, and then of course intervention. So again, I'm thinking I can't be gone a month, I'm going to miss my barrel races. I'm just starting to click with this horse, and the funny thing is, he looks just like my old horse. And
like Rocky?
And I kept thinking, I don't want another horse like that. He looks too much like my old horse. He looks a lot like him. He has almost the same name. His name is Ricky, but his name is Ricky Bobby. And but I ended up with him, and that's who I was riding. And then I went to intervention and didn't ride, for a month. While I was in intervention, in the recovery center, after my intervention, I was in recovery, and I went to Ardu, a fantastic place. I don't know, what chose them to choose, whatever place they chose, but it was all they're doing. When I could have guests come to, because I had to make sure my dogs could come. So every other week, they would bring my dogs. Now, if they could have brought my horses, they would have done that. But
I can imagine that showing up at the rehab with the horse.
But and my sister kind of got, I think, a little offended, or not really, but she said, "So, you want your dogs next week instead of us?" And I'm going, So because Kathy, of course, wouldn't care if they were, because she has animals and stuff. She'd bring them. She'd be the one. Her and my horse friends would bring the dogs in their vehicles instead of my sisters, and they didn't think they could handle my dogs. And So the week that my dogs came, we would rotate, and so but I had to make sure my dogs could come visit me when I was down in the rehab, which they did, and that worked out really fun. And it helped a lot of other people in rehab when they saw me with my dogs.
Yeah.
Because they all missed their dogs, and they just loved it when my dogs came. But then, I did the full 30 days. While I was in rehab, when they did the blood work and everything, my liver was elevated. So I had apparently been drinking enough that my health was starting to...
The enzymes were breaking down.
They were breaking down, and I'd never had that problem before. So that was a big... But before I went into rehab, that was always in the back of my brain. I should go get checked, the normal stuff. You should go get help because your health.
Yeah.
And, and I was going, God, what do I do to bring it down? And they, just don't drink. It's simple, and you're going, okay, yeah, that's real simple, But I did the 30 days, and I, it was an awesome place. The counselors there were awesome. A lot of good counseling. They go out and do hikes, the normal group stuff to try and activities, and met a lot of fun people. I keep in tabs with a few of them, via Facebook, and some of them are struggling, some of them are doing okay. And then when I get out, and I got out on a Monday. I was barrel racing Wednesday on a horse I hadn't rode for a month, and by the end of the year I won a saddle.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
And that's big.
On this horse. So I came back from this trauma that I was with the alcoholism, and at the end of the year I pulled off winning a saddle on him.
That's cool.
So between the rehab and then getting back into the barrel racing, that really set you on that journey of recovery. Because one thing, once you got out of rehab, a lot of people fall back into the addiction because of whatever may be going on in their life, but you put yourself into a situation to keep you occupied in something that you just flipping adored and loved, right? It was those animals and just the thrill of the barrel racing. Right. And it's still the drinking. I have been sober since I've been out, so it's been over a year that I've been sober. Good for you.
And I went right into an IOP, the Renaissance Ranch up in Ogden. I know they have several around, and I still go to that as much as I can. I get busy. But I still go to that as much as I can, 3 days a week. I never got a sponsor. I just kind of was too busy. I just felt too busy to deal with a sponsor, which was my own thing. I had some names to call, and I talked to one or two, but I just never really. And I haven't gone to AA meetings. I just felt like with my schedule, as long as I'm staying at the IOP to help, the aftercare that has helped me a lot. And I know people that go every day to AA, and and if that's what they need, I think that's great. I just felt my friends could be my sponsors. If I need help, I got friends I can call.
I was going to say, you sound like you got a pretty good community of friends and family around you.
Right.
And that was something they talked about at Recovery Days, is it's not, you can get these people sober, but the problem that definitely helps boost relapse times is the fact that once they're sober and then they're back home, is if they're not plugged in or to community or have that group like you have, that they're home, they're alone, that stuff just starts to set in and it becomes a dark place for them. So what do they turn to for comfort? What they know. Right.
Well, and that finger's constantly tapping them on the head. Going,
and the reason and the reason I drink is still there. I'm home alone at night.
Yeah.
I just talk to people or talk to my dogs or And I know if I have issues, I can call friends, and they'll be right there.
That is so good, because like JD said, we all need a support. We all need a support group, and a lot of times family is not the right support group,
and they're not,
or your spouse,
right? And I feel lucky that way, because they'll tell you, well, you can't hang out with your friends anymore if that's who you went and drank with. But I didn't have that issue, so my friends were all there, and they're still supportive, and we can still do whatever we were doing before.
Yeah.
And the same with my family. We've always been close. I mean, we have our family skirmishes. You always do, but
it's family.
You can't stand them that day, but yeah, it's family.
Yeah.
But overall, they've just been right there for me the whole time.
That's great.
So it's been a battle. I mean, I feel lucky, and again, it could be the timing, the higher power, whatever. That I have not gone back to drinking, but I haven't. It's been, like I said, it's been over a year, and I went to. I've been to places where you can drink, and this may sound, but to me, I just have a drink in my hand. It may not be alcoholic, but but I still have it, so I can still drink with you, but it's just not an alcoholic drink. And that was kind of what my mindset, because people would say, well, how do you do it? I says, well, I still drink, it's just not alcoholic.
Yeah, it's just a different way.
Lemonade, tea, whatever, and I made it through a Mexico trip that way.
Wow.
And went to Mexico, and I've gone to, and it's not to say we go to a lot of places where you drink, but some of the restaurants we'll go to after riding or something, I used to have a glass of wine at.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to those same restaurants after we go horseback riding, but I just haven't felt the need that I need that wine. Now, before I would kind of say, oh, let's go to this restaurant, because I knew I could get a glass of wine there.
Yeah.
And we still go to the same restaurant, but I haven't had a drink there at all. So.
Good for you. That's
but
awesome.
Yeah, and I guess, like I said, I just have and even at home, I think that's how I get over it, being home alone, is I just keep a drink on my bed, by my bedside, and it could be, now I'm getting addicted to stupid 5-hour energy drinks or Red Bull, but because I drink more Red Bull than I should.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you have found a way to deal with the situation, that you have a great support group, you've got really, really good friends. They definitely love you a ton,
right,
because they respect what you're going through. I mean, for our audience, what is something that you can share with them that maybe they're struggling and they've gone through some of the same things that you've gone through? What do you have, something that you can share with them and that might help them just get through a day,
I think if you could have even just one friend that you could confide in, and you knew that one friend wouldn't, of course I had several, but I think you just have to end up talking to a friend. There's tons of, and I'm not a big video watcher or YouTube. The stuff you put out every day on Facebook, I think very helpful, just the sayings you put out. I have another friend that puts out sayings every day via text, and his inspiration's been a lot. With what and I pass a lot of that information on to people who, with even the recovery group I'm in now, I'll pass a lot of that information on to them. And I think they just need to, I don't know, even find something to keep them occupied, maybe. It's hard to say, because everybody has to do it in their own way, and it's just, I think friends and your family is just a big part of it. I think that's what's made a big difference with me, of course, is I didn't have to find new friends, and I didn't have to not be with my family, because they weren't the drinkers. that a lot of people have to avoid. You know?
That's again good thing on that. I can relate to the friend situation. You know, hey, I'm gonna hang out with my friend. Oh, I'll see Betty later.
Yeah.
Yeah, Betty. Yeah. You know, did you have something else, JD?
No,
Okay.
I was just relating again, just her
Right.
having that, you know, like sometimes you gotta, it's just like anything else too when you're growing, you know, when you're growing into, like we want to be better people and stuff, you know, and it's about the people that you surround yourself around as well,
Yeah.
that want to encourage you to be better, do better in life as a general thing, you know, not just with an addiction, but to grow. And like, I mean, I've had to let go of friends, you know what I mean, that just weren't, it really wasn't good or impactful in my life, and their decisions and stuff wasn't, it's not like you want to have friends so you can benefit off of in that sense, but you've got to make sure that your surroundings are encouraging and growing, or you will not grow.
Yeah.
You know, there'll come a point.
Damaging.
And so,
Yep.
you know, when you got a friend, and again, I love my wife, she's had those friends where it's like, you know, your friend started drinking probably around 11 or noon. If you go over there, she's going to make sure to catch you up to speed.
Yeah. Let's get you caught up.
Yeah, you know, and like,
Yeah.
and it's just, it's one of those things that's hard, because obviously it's like, you love your friends, you want the best for them too, like they're your friend, right? But it's like, they don't see it that way, they don't see like it's being harmful, they just see that you're, we're friends, we're hanging out, this is what we do,
Yeah.
right? And not seeing the damage and the pain that it causes around.
Right, and see, and that's it. None of my friends would ever say, "Oh, have a drink anyway." You know, one drink's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like a lot of other people's
Other
friends
people do it, yeah.
that would do it. You know, we've never, and they would never do that even when you're at some place. They never encourage to drink or.
You know, and those are the type of people, like you guys are saying, those are the type of people you want in your life.
Right.
I mean, my wife and I, we've kind of pushed away some friends, and we've pushed away some family. And I think, Janessa, you and your husband have kind of done the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's not to hurt them, but if we're not protecting ourselves, and my wife and I, we've talked about it before, that, you know, if these people are meant to be in your life, God will bring them back into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But you can still love them and still care for them
At
at
a distance.
a distance. But you got to do what you got to do to make yourself strong and build your relationship, especially the ones that have been broken down like ours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes a lot to build that back up. And
For sure.
yeah, so that was a really good point, JD, that you brought up. So
Yeah. Like I said, it's important surrounding yourself, you know, and again, those that are addicts and stuff, like, again, there's people out there that want to help, that care about you and care about your wins and your successes, and being able to go from where you've been to climb to the top and help you rise there.
yeah.
But you also have those friends. My sister, if you ever look up Dallas Ariel Johnson on Facebook, she's my sister that passed away. She's got a video, but she talks about crabs in the bucket. Have you guys ever heard the crabs in the bucket
Yeah.
story? Right,
Yeah.
so you guys all know this, right? So it's the same thing. As you get those friends, they start seeing you doing really good, and they're gonna grab and pull you down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the same scenario. Is you got friends that if you start doing better than them, essentially too, they don't technically want that. I mean, they deep down, I think they do, but outside, they're like, hang on a minute, whoa, hang on, no,
Yeah.
we gotta, yeah,
And I think just as harmful, like for my husband, when he was in the depths of he pushed everybody away. He isolated and he didn't want anybody. And I think for some addicts, that's a tendency to be like, just hide and don't
Right.
talk to anybody, don't reach out, stay hidden. And he just he pushed me away. He didn't the kids away. He just was his own little.
Well, and you do, because even, you know, there was parties I wouldn't go to because, well, number one, I wouldn't drive because I had been drinking, so I wouldn't drive to the parties. But I definitely didn't want to go because I had been drinking, and I didn't want to show up at a party drunk.
Mm-hmm.
So I would more or less isolate. And that was like my I stay in touch with Chris's kids. We're still, you know, family. But I've missed a lot of their parties because I didn't want to drive. And now his daughter's fighting alcoholism. And
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to help her without pushing,
Doing
you know,
the push, yeah.
because she keeps, you know, throwing, well, you know, it must be in the genes. Look at Dad. And I'm going, yeah, but look what happened to your dad. So I'm, slowly working with her. Now, another thing, and I haven't mentioned this, that I think helped me too, and I guess this could be something that I could recommend. When I was down, they put me on the Vivitrol shot, and which is like the pill of natroxyl, but it's the shot that you get monthly, and it takes your cravings away. So that has helped me a lot. However, I don't have cravings for anything, so I don't even eat.
Oh my gosh.
So the 30 pounds I put on, I have lost.
Huh.
So to me, the Vivitrol shot helped. I have talked to one gal that had a horrid reaction to that, but she's the only one I've heard of. So I did have help on that end with the cravings. And I'm still taking that. I think but I'm under a doctor's care on that, so he's prescribing it a little bit longer and I think I'd be safe not to have it, but part of me wants to lose more weight, so now I'm addicted to losing the weight, so not craving now
that.
I'm thinking, God, if I don't get on the shot, then I'll crave all this food and I'll just pig out and I'll eat. But
Cool.
But the Vivitrol shot did help me, and it's the side effects aren't like what Antabuse is at all.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing that
That's
that
another
has helped
thing.
me a lot is that shot.
Awesome.
And the doctors down at Ardu put me on that down there. And then my doctor up here continued. Whatever they were doing, he continued it. Yeah. And I wish I could go to my alumni's down at Ardu, but they're Wednesday nights, and that's my barrel races. So I keep saying, one day I'm going to make it. One day I'm going to make it, because maybe in December, January, when they don't have them, I'll
be able to make it.
I'll be able to make a couple of their alumni nights.
Those were cool when we went to Wasatch. Mark Richards invited us. He was here on our show as a guest. He's the owner of Wasatch. Plus, my wife went to Wasatch Recovery, and it was really cool to get up there. My wife ran into a couple people that she knew, and
right.
But yeah. Well, Cinda, thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon and sharing your story and your experience. It was great.
Anytime I'd come back again.
Well, good. Good. We may have to have you come back as like a guest co-host. So
okay.
I think after this show's over, I think we're going to go over the calendar, and I'm going to see if Janessa is interested in coming back as a guest co-host. So, ladies, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. JD, as always, buddy, we kept you here all day. You basically didn't work today to be here on the show because we had 2 shows to do today. So thank you. Thank you for your time. What are they going to do?
Fire me?
Yeah.
So, all right. And with that, guys, just want to add again, anybody that you're listening to this podcast, again, remember, we're out here to make a difference, and if you know somebody that needs to hear this message, send it over their way. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We definitely we have a goal of impacting as many lives as possible, and so every little bit helps. And so, again, just thank you guys, everybody that's listening to this, and everybody that's been a part of it and a part of the journey. We're very grateful for it.
Amen to that. I'll ditto it. So ditto or concur. That's one of my big words that I learned a long time ago. So
we'll use it.
Yeah, we'll use it. Hey guys, again, thank you for your support. Thank you for everything that you do, and we'll leave you with this as we do every week. Addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.